What is going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today, we're throwing you a sneaky stasis build for endgame that I think is a juicer and slept on for sure, using the newly buffed or changed Renewal Grasps, which reverted a change in the past for its Duskfield size and everything. So we are back in business with these, absolutely freezing everything in our path, creating a nice overshield for us, taking less damage, and like I said, frozen targets, stasis shards are everywhere. Sleeper stasis build for our hunter right here. Now, this Duskfield Daddy build has the Renewal Grasps on with that exotic perk, Depth of Duskfield. Your Duskfield Grenade has a much larger effect radius. Allies inside of the Duskfield take reduced damage, and targets inside deal reduced damage. So, when you're standing inside, targets are shooting you if they are inside of it as well. They just barely hurt you, I feel like, because of these. And with how we have this build built out, having Duskfields everywhere and that giant stasis shard in the middle also is super effective at some nice DPS, add clear potential. So you can see we got those triple 100s for resilience, discipline, and strength on this build, using our mods to get back our grenade in bolstering detonation, as well as get back our class ability in bolstering and impact. So we have grenade kickstarter on top of that. So all of those armor charges that we are getting via orbs of power and our elemental charge down low in our boots, we will have the potential to get a nice chunk of our grenade energy back via this mod. Now, for the rest of them, we got that harmonic siphon, so our stasis weapons are going to be creating orbs of power for us with heavy ammo, scout, and finder to share that heavy ammo love. Now, on our chest piece, using void and arc resistance, these can be changed out depending on the content you are going into. I needed both of these for what I was into, so you can change these out depending on the activity with that charged up, so we can proc even more of that grenade kickstarter. Now, like I said, using elemental charge, so when we collect those stasis shards, we have a chance at getting the armor charge, so we can proc this even more often with recuperation innervation for orbs of power, creating those on grenade defeats, and with that health replenish is super nice. Now, we are getting double bomber on our class ability with Reaper to create even more orbs of power to help proc these, with double bomber, of course, giving us back our Duskfield grenades, so Duskfield Daddy can whip them around all willy-nilly like. When we move on to the weapons in this build, we're using the Wicked Implement actually with the Tithing Harvest and Headstone. This thing has the potential to slow targets on those precision hits and spawn stasis crystals there as well. When we collect those stasis shards, it also overflows the magazine, so it is super nice to pair with this build, slowing everything down. Plus, we have some nice artifact mods that help this bad boy out. On top of that, using Forbearance, of course, you can see we love this thing, almost level 100 with almost 7,500 defeats on this weapon, with a Chain of Command, Adrenaline Junkie, Demolitionist. With that boss spec, this thing feels super crisp inside of the PvE realm, especially with that stasis synergy. And Demolitionist, of course, super great at getting us back our grenades, so Duskfield Daddy can throw those around all over the place. And just that pairing of Adrenaline Junkie Demolitionist is S tier on basically any weapon. Next, the meat and potatoes of this build. We are using Silence and Squall, of course, with Gambler's Dodge actually, so we can get our Withering Blade back a little bit faster, and Triple Jump. Of course, we're using the Duskfield Grenade for the Duskfield Daddy build with Grim Harvest and Touch of Winter. So our Duskfield Grenade has the additional increase slow size and creates a small stasis crystal on impact. Now, this is going to be important. That stasis crystal helps us to create stasis shards and pairs with Renewal Grasps even better. Now, we're using Grim Harvest, so defeating slowed or frozen targets creates stasis shards for us. These stasis shards grant us melee energy as well, so we can continuously slow and freeze targets with our Withering Blade. Now on top of that, Whisper of Rhyme, collecting stasis shards grants us that overshield, which protects us endgame content. Collecting additional shards replenishes that timer. Now we're going to have shards everywhere because of our Duskfields, as well as that wicked implement creating frozen and slowed targets, so we can get this to proc even more often. Just insane amount of Whisper of Rhymes procced because of that overshield. Now we are using those stasis shards also tracked to our nearby position, so this will help us to proc Whisper of Rhymes as well as on our wicked implement. When we do collect those stasis shards, it overflows the weapon, so we basically never have to reload that wicked implement as long as we're throwing out dust grenades, as well as using our melee to create frozen targets more often. It is so nice. Now on top of that, we're increasing the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy those crystals or frozen targets, so we are freezing everything with this build with our weapons as well as our abilities, so this comes in handy for that add clear and damage potential. On top of that, we are taking even less damage when we are near targets or those stasis crystals, so it is very good again for that end game, and that is why we have that nice giant stasis crystal. Because of Touch of Winter on our Duskfield, we can go stand in it, get our Renewal Grasp to proc by taking that less damage while standing inside of it, and then we have the stasis crystal also reducing our damage. And last but not least, slows on targets last longer and abilities last longer, so this helps with increase the duration of Duskfield grenades, so we can have that even more better of the slowing and freezing of everything, creating even more stasis shards for us. So it is an insane endgame build in my opinion. Works very well in a lot of content. Now, last but certainly not least, hopefully y'all are sticking with me here. I know I've been mumbling a little bit, but we got the end in the artifact. We're going to be using that Unstoppable Scout for Wicked Implement with Overload Machine Gun for our chain of command. Now, we are going to be using Elemental Fury as well as Semi-Auto Striker. If you have fewer than 2 armor charges, Rapid Precision Blows with that Scout Rifle generate armor charge. So this will help us with proccing that grenade Kickstarter if we're not getting it already from our Orbs of Power and our Stasis Shards. On top of that, like I said, Elemental Fury doing damage a little bit better with those grenades on champions that have been stunned, so this will help with our Withering Blade as well as that Duskfield. Now on top of that, using Monochromatic Meister on this build so we can have that elemental damage do some increase for our weapons as well as our abilities. So Duskfield as well as our Withering Blade and Wicked Implement, Chain of Command, all doing a little extra damage. Now this should actually be the Rapid Fire Ranger. This is for those rapid precision hits on targets, weakens them for a short period of duration. So right here, Auto Striker with Rapid Fire Ranger, Monochromatic Meister, and that Wicked Implement is so disgusting this season because it weakens targets, it slows and frees them, and we get a damage boost, all just from one weapon. And then on top of that, we're creating stasis shards, freezing targets, getting our abilities back, all from just our scout rifle. Now this build pairs so well with those Duskfields, like I said, making that even better because we can spam them, taking less damage in that end game content, slowing and freezing even more targets because of the longer AoE and of the size of that crystal in the center. Damage add clear for this build is disgusting, and that stasis freezes nice in endgame, almost like a blind or suspend. Very similar feel. Can get a little wonky with stunning champions sometime, and the replenishing of health, especially with overloads and those barriers sometimes, but it is still just a gnarly synergy that we have with this build. Even after this artifact goes away, the synergy of Wicked Implement freezing everything, as well as our abilities, and then all of those stasis shards collecting for overshield, overflow, or refilling our weapon, as well as giving us our abilities back, armor charge. It is a insane synergy build, and definitely suggest all my hunters out there try it. Little stasis sleeper build for y'all. Duskfield Daddy is here to stay. So truly appreciate all your support lately on the channel. Y'all have been killing it, absolutely destroying some goals that I had this year, so I appreciate that. Feels amazing. So thank you guys again. You guys are the best. Stick around for more videos, content. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button so you don't miss out any of this, and check out all my other socials. One-Eyed Jedi. Again, truly appreciate that support. I'll catch y'all in the next one.